What's up, y'all? It's Jazz Ford. Welcome back to yet another banging episode of Heavy on Kingdom, talking God journeys plus fruitful conversations heavily wrapped in laughter, love, and light. It's a very special time on the pod, coming close to our 1 year pod anniversary. It's been a whole year, y'all. I can't believe it that we have reached a year already. The podcast is truly God's vision, and it's something that I would have never saw for myself or did without him, because it's definitely him. I remember uploading the very first episode and being so afraid to press publish, terrified. But believe it or not, even a year later, 75 downloads in, I'm still asking God, like, did I do what you told me to do? Did I tell my journey with you and hear people's journey along the way? So with no further ado, let's get right into our next guest. Very special. He's a hooper. He's passionate. He's a thrifty. He's also crazy about the Lord. Give it up, Raheem Brizendine. Raheem, thanks for coming.
Hey, thank you for having me. I just seen what you're doing with the pod. I'm just thankful for the invite. It's just a blessing to be here. Just props to you.
Yeah. So I see what you're doing out there too. That's why I had to grab you and hear about your journey. So I'm so excited to have you on here. We're just going to get right into it. The first segment of the podcast we start off is called The First 15. And it's one of my favorite segments because it's actually giving homage to the older church. It's a lot of heat right now, but I just want to, on this podcast, change the narrative and say a couple of things that the church did get right. And one of those things was testimony service. In testimony service, people would go around and they would tell their testimony, and it was a portion of the service where everyone is connected, where there was unity, where there was love. That being said, I want to hear your testimony. I want to hear how your walk with God came about, and how has that been for you?
Man, so I want to say that I always grew up in the church. I want to say I always knew God. So my grandmother was kind of the trailblazer for that. You know, she made sure we were all involved in church. My family was involved in the church, and you know, I always believed, and I always, you know, tried to do things right. But as I got a little older, I kind of strayed away from the path. You know, and I want to say about like freshman year of high school, I kind of felt a tug just to get closer with God and just start striving for the Lord and just doing what I need to do. And I ended up getting baptized. So that was a really like big movement for me. That was a really big thing. And then high school started. And we all know high school could be something that's, you know, that could be a whole different monster. And then just with high school, getting involved in, you know, some wrong crowds, being around people, you know, they're pushing kind of the world onto me like, oh, you need to be doing this, like you should be doing that. Oh, you at this age, or you need to be doing this and this and this. You haven't done this yet. You haven't experienced that yet. You ain't done this with a girl. Like all of these things that they were just pushing these narratives on me. And I kind of just felt like, man, I'm behind. I guess I gotta go do all of this because I need to be validated. I need to be seen. I need to be, you know what I'm saying, have this X, Y, and Z attached to my name so that I can be somebody, you know. And that kind of followed me, and then I built up a bad reputation about myself that I didn't like, and that I thought was, now looking back on it, it was actually a really, really, really bad thing to have, a stigma to have about myself. So had that, and I just kept on doing it and doing it all throughout high school. And then I want to say it even kind of trickled over to my freshman year of college. And I want to say right after my freshman year of college, going into my sophomore year, there was like this summer 2022. I'll never forget it. It was like it was like really like God really was like had me like a little Jonah season, like, yo, I need you to come to me. I need you to come over here. And I was just kind of like, I don't know. I still want to go to parties. I still want to do this. I still want to do that. I was like, nah, I need you over here. Like, I need you to be the difference maker in your area, because once I didn't know what God was trying to do, because God was trying to show me, once you make that transition, people are going to see you and be like, wow, he actually changed and did that. Oh, it's possible for me to do the same. So I was kind of just feeling that tug. And then, like, I went through an extreme, like, season of, like, anxiety and depression probably throughout that whole summer. Like, that whole summer was just, like, tough. It was really bad. And something just told me, really, like, just open up your Bible. Have people around me encouraging me, man. Just try it. ago because I never really read the Bible. And I know that sounds bad, but like I knew God. I was in church. I heard the sermons, and I feel like we have a lot of people that are like that. They've been to church. They've heard the sermons. They've heard the worship. They heard all of that, but they never truly read the Bible for themselves. And I didn't do that. I didn't really dive in and really try to build that intimate, deep connection with the Lord. I didn't try to do that. So I was like, you know what? I'm trying to read the Bible. So I started in the New Testament, and I just read a chapter a day, and it changed my life. Like it literally changed the whole trajectory of what I had going on. And I want to say about, I want to say like mid August. I wish I knew the day. I wish I knew the day. But I want to say around like mid August, that's when I like was like, you know what, I'm going to rededicate my life to Christ. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. And ever since then, August of 2022, I've been striving just to really just using my platform, using the resources that I have, just to spread the gospel and just show people that like like your past doesn't define you, your mistakes don't define you. It's about getting back up and just continuing to go seek God, seek His face, and Lord says, "Look, draw close to me, and I'll be right there." That was really the main thing. That's kind of my testimony in a nutshell.
Beautiful. I like how you said you had the little Jonah moment. I think we all have that Jonah moment where there is this big stigma that
Hmm.
you don't want to fully. You feel like if you come over fully to God, then this life is going to be boring, or
Hmm.
it's so much that is attached to it, but it's so much that you gain, and a lot of people do not know that it's so much that you gain. Could you talk on what you say that you gained coming fully over?
The supernatural peace. I'm telling you, like I try to explain it the best that I can for people. I'm like, man, it's one thing to say that you believe in God, but when you're in His Word, connecting with His people, you really see how beautiful like God is. Like we all know the divinity of Christ, we all know the divinity of God, but once you really start to be in worship with Him, be in communion with His people, it's just amazing. It's so indescribable. And I want to say what I gained from it is really the peace and honestly just helping others. Like I always wanted to help people. I always wanted to give back. Like I always knew like I had that in me ever since I was like a kid. But ever since coming to Christ, it's just been like a whole different light that just kind of just followed me. That I just like I just want to help. Like I just extend myself. Like I just want to be a resource for everybody. I want to be able to help whoever, whenever. I just want to whether it's training kids with basketball, whether it's praying over strangers, whether it's just giving back in any way that I can. So it's just like that's probably been like the biggest thing that's just been changed for me since I came to Christ. It's really just when it says when Jesus says like I'm going to train you to be fishers of men. I feel like that verse really resonates with me because like I really want to go out, be fishers of men, and make disciples of all nations with His name.
And it's just like having a good friend. Like you can't just have a good friend and nobody knows about him, you know? So you want to tell him, show him off to everybody. And once you really get, I feel like that word, everyone says the same thing who comes on here, that when you get in that word, it just gives you a different reflection of God. You really get to see His heart. And it's so true. We didn't get into Sovereignty Hoops. You founded Sovereignty Hoops. Could you talk a little about that?
So I'm glad you asked that. So basically, it's always been in my heart to. I always wanted to open up my own sports facility. I always wanted to say I want to open up a sports facility, basketball facility, and just give back to the community through my faith. And I feel like where I came from, I'm from a place where it's not really known for basketball on a national scale. I'm from Nebraska. I'm from Omaha, Nebraska.
Oh,
402 born,
really?
yeah, 402 born and raised. And I grew up with so many kids that had so much talent, that had so many things going for themselves, but they just never truly they didn't have that outlet. They didn't have they didn't have that media coverage, they didn't have those outlets, they didn't have those facilities, they didn't have the training and stuff like that. So it kind of hindered them from success. So I always told myself if I make it out or if I make it to a high enough level and things of that nature, I'm going to make sure I do things to give back to them and give back to other communities because I don't want any more kids who have the talent not being able to make it or go far just because they didn't have the resources around them. So Sovereignty Hoops is basically, I want to look at it, it's just an extension of Christ. It's just a resource. It's just a resource to help, young believers, young ballers, and even people who aren't believers. Just to go plant those seeds and just know that, I want to use this platform to inspire you and just to let you know if I can do it, you can do it, and 10 times more. You can be 10 times better than me. You can be better than what I ever did, and that's what I want. Just I really want to change lives with that platform and just using something that God has blessed me with basketball to change it. And a lot of programs are starting where I'm from too as well that are doing great things. Vinton Wilder with GBOD Hoops, he's doing an amazing thing over in Omaha. He's doing great with just helping youth and extending out to them. And we have so many other facilities that are doing the same thing. I just want to just be a part of that. So I kind of wanted to start Sovernity Hoops, and I'm like, honor his name when you're on the court. That's what I want to be because a lot of people don't know this. Dr. James Nathan, he created basketball in the YMCA, which was standing for Young Men Christians Association, to literally get people to Christ to play basketball. So he
I
made
never
he made basketball to make disciples. So that a lot of people don't know the history of that basketball. It was made to bring people to Jesus. So that's exactly what I want to do with my platform, especially after learning that, because I didn't know that either.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. That's interesting. Cause I saw somewhere too where you didn't start off on the normal path that most young hoopers or basketball players start off.
Yeah,
So normally, if you're on the path to the NBA, you play
yeah,
recreational once you're younger. Then you'll play AAU, right? And then from there, well, AAU and high school. If you in high school, you play high school ball. Then from there, you go to a division, and there
mm-hmm.
from there you're drafted, right?
Yeah. So I didn't play high school basketball. So
Mm.
that was kind of like something that's like people are like, what? Like, you didn't play
Did
high
you
school? Like, no.
did you play recreational?
Yeah. So
Okay.
I played AAU. I went to camps. I played middle school. I did all of those things, but I didn't play high school basketball. So a lot of people were kind of just like skeptical of my path, and a lot of people didn't believe. And I was just like, man, just because it didn't work out for me right here doesn't mean that like it's not going to work out in the end. Because I'm like, I know God just didn't give me this dream just to just for it. Just like, oh yeah, you're just gonna have it. You're just gonna no, I truly believe that God placed this on my heart for a reason, and He blessed me with the God given talent that I have, and the work ethic and the determination that I have. So it's kind of just like I'm I'm going to ride this until wheels fall off, and it ended up working out for me. And I want to use that story to show kids that it's not about how you start, it's about how you go through with it. It is about how you finish. And because a lot of people, and there's a lot of toxic basketball so-called savants that try to tell kids, oh, this is your future. And my whole thing is like, don't let nobody determine your destiny. If God gave you this dream, if God called you to it, then go do it. And don't care
Mm-hmm.
about what nobody else says. Don't listen to the naysayers. Don't listen to the haters, because no matter what you're going to do, people are going to hate on you regardless. If somebody's not hating, I don't think you're doing it right, because there's always going to be somebody who is trying to say, oh, you can't do this, or you can't do that, or you can't do this. Don't feed into the negativity. Just walk around with positivity and walk around with that strength in Christ, because if God calls you to it, man, just do it. And that's the kind of mindset that I had going through it, and I feel like that's what's gotten me this far, because I can't owe it nothing but to God and literally the work that I put in. So I didn't really have the traditional path that most people had, because they had the parents involved, they had this. I really didn't have none of that. My parents really didn't know too much about basketball. My mom kind of was just like, she was just a mom. She was kind of like, I'm just gonna help you wherever you want to do, or help you wherever you
Mm-hmm.
want to go. And I was just kind of the one that was kind of pushing the needle, kind of making the connections and stuff like that. So that was kind of my journey.
That's a miracle in itself. Just how God opened that door. I could speak to that too. When I was going to college, I was a first generation college student. So it was a lot of pressure I felt to perform and, to meet certain goals, and a lot of pressure I put on myself that God didn't even put on me, to complete and be done by a certain time, and to have this certain amount of accolades, and to have certain things lined up. But it was in that process where I felt like it was just me and God, because he was leading me. He was telling me how to do certain things, giving me strategy, organizing things for me. It was certain things that I dealt with that my parents or my family necessarily didn't know that I dealt with, like with financial aid. It was just with me and the Lord, and we really roughed it out during those seasons. And I just remember God going before me, giving me just so much favor. Just like even with my professors, they would. The thing about God is that He will push you into certain positions that you never saw yourself being in. Like I will always be the person that would try to shy back. And my professors will always recommend me for things. I went to school for journalism, for print journalism. I never wanted to be in front of the camera. I always wanted to be behind. This is what type of person I was, be behind the camera. And I always, it seemed, got pushed to the forefront, even when I didn't want to. And it was just God just pushing me to do things, even with this, like God giving me this and telling me to go out here and do this. It was a thing of trust. I want to dive in that too. Talk about trust. How have your your journey allowed you to come to trust God even more than you would have normally?
Man, so I kind of seen what God did for others, and that made me even like trusting Him even more with my journey. Because I've seen where like, my God, you did the. I'm reading His Word, and I'm like, God, you did the impossible so many times. You did the impossible so many times, and that kind of made me have more faith in my journey, and then just literally coming from my journey. I'll just give you some statistics and break it down. So there's over 5 million. I want to say 5 million high school basketball players in the country. And that's not including international, because we're dealing with international games too. So there's people from other countries that are trying to come to the United States. But let's just speak for the U.S. There's 5 million high school basketball. 3 point, I want to say 5 or 7% going to play college basketball in general.
Mm-hmm.
Even like 2% play Division 2, and I think about 1% play Division 1, and like 0.5% play professional. I didn't play high school basketball, so I'm already behind the whole curve. Like I'm not even in the percentile. There's not even a percent for that. I still made the college. I became a 3%. Went up to Division 2. I became a 2%. So it's just like I seen God do the impossible, because statistically speaking, that is impossible. How can you do that? And there's nothing I can come up to say that got me there but God. Like that was all God. What you said, having favor. I've seen Him have favor, because when I even got to college, I'm like, man, I made a part of the 3%. I don't think I'm ever going to be playing basketball on a full ride scholarship. I had that thought. That's what I thought. But then God, no, I'm gonna open this door for you. Boom.
Mm-hmm.
Don't ever doubt me. And I just learned I can never doubt God, because He's continuously showed me that He will do the impossible. That He can make a way out of no way, that literally our minds literally cannot comprehend His divinity, His greatness, and what He can do in your life, as long as that you just follow Him. So I truly believe like my trust just came from just seeing Him just continuously do the impossible in others, and then also in my life. Because I was like, man, I loved it. But also came to a point where I was like, man, I don't know. I don't know if I can get it. I don't know if this is gonna happen. I don't know if it's gonna work out. I was like, nah. Just it wasn't working out on your time, but just remember, it's always gonna work out on my time. That really built my trust.
Yeah, I was reading recently about Martha, Mary, and Lazarus. And I feel like that is the perfect Bible depiction of trusting God, trusting His timing, trusting His plan. Lazarus was dead, and they wanted him, Martha and Mary wanted him there right then and there. They wanted him to come at their timing, and if because he didn't come in their timing, they thought that it was too late or that he felt them. But he came in His timing because He had a plan for it. It teaches you that God doesn't work on our time. God is so intentional. And even when we think He's not moving, He is moving behind the scenes. That anything could happen in a moment. Just like how you just said, you didn't even play high school, but now you playing Division 2. That is a miracle. That is amazing. So I want to go back. I heard you say that you had like doubts, which we all do. Something that I dealt with in school too. I dealt with imposter syndrome a lot. it was defeating thoughts that were like, oh, do I even deserve to be here? Like, do I am I supposed to be here? Can you emphasize more on, have you ever dealt with imposter syndrome, and like what did that
Oh,
look like?
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely, definitely. So when I was on my way from like just making the transition of coming to Division 2, and I was talking to like a lot of schools and things like that, and I was working out over this past summer. I was like, man, like it's actually here. Because I got the opportunity, I was thankful for God for it, but it's just like, man, am I ready? Like it started, and it almost became like that anxiety that tried to get me in 2022. I started to kind of feel that kind of that spark trying to reignite itself, and I was just like, I was having those intrusive thoughts, and those thoughts like, man, like, are you going to be able to do this? Are you going to be able to do that? What if this doesn't work? What if this doesn't work? What if this doesn't happen how you want it to go? And God was just like, and just like his still voice, just really quiet, was just like, it's alright, it's
Hmm.
okay. I got you this far. Be where your feet are. And I feel like that's something that I've just kind of just lived by. When those thoughts try to come, trying to make me anxious, trying to make me overthink, trying to make me feel like I'm not doing enough, make me feel like I'm not enough in general. Just be where your feet are. Don't worry about what's to come. Don't worry about the past. Don't worry about all the possibilities, what can happen. Be where your feet are in this moment, right here, right now, and just embrace it. Be thankful. Be grateful, and just remember that my word is a sword for all of the negativity.
Really a sword. I realized, like, when I was younger, I used to read the word just to get the backdrop of it. But now I read the word with knowing that it's a weapon. Knowing that, like, if I'm feeling this type of way, if I'm feeling anxious, or if I'm feeling worried, or if I'm feeling fearful, to go to scriptures that point to those specific signs.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy. Sometimes I just sit back and I just think like wow, my God just really like I never would have thought like my story would inspire so many people. Even though like I just wanted to do that, I always wanted to inspire people. And like even on my Instagram bio says like I'm just a vessel. Like I'm just a hooper that inspires the world online. And that's all I want to do. I just want to help people. I truthfully just want to know, show people, kids, adults, teenagers. It doesn't matter. I want to show them that it's possible
Mm-hmm.
if you believe. If you have faith and you believe, anything is possible. If you have faith and you believe, you're halfway there. All you need to do is put the work. All you got to do is do your part because God has already done his part.
Mm-hmm. That is so true. So you said that you grew up in a church.
Yeah, so my grandma, actually my whole family was kind of involved in the church, so it was no running from it. It was like everywhere, everything was church. My grandma, my uncle was the minister, so it was kind of like my whole family was just like involved in the church. Yes, Easter, Wednesday night Bible study. Yes, I was. Yes, Sunday school, everything. I was in there for sure.
So what do you think was the turning point? I know you said that it was your sophomore year in college, and what was that turning point? What were you going through at that time? Where
Man, I just had an empty void. So my freshman year had just ended. I didn't play my freshman year. I got hurt early on in the year, but we were the number one team in the country because I went to a junior college. We were the number one team in the country. We just had came. We didn't win a championship, but we just that was one of the first ones in like school history, being the number one team going to the tournament. Did all that great stuff. I was going to have a breakout year. I was playing good. I was looking good coming off the injury and stuff like that. Like everything was like, if you was on the outside looking in, you would have never thought anything was happening with me because you would be like, oh, he got it. He just starting to go up for him. It's starting to go up. It's looking good for him right now. But I was just like, I just had this empty void,
mm,
and I was just trying to find like whatever to fill the void. I thought if I played more basketball, if I just distracted myself, worked a little harder, if I did all of this, it would just fill this void that was in me. But that void just wasn't getting filled, and it just wasn't working for me. So I was like, you know what? When I go back home, because I was in school at Minnesota at the time, when I go back home, maybe if I go hang out with some of my friends and stuff like that, go back hang out with them, we go do some stuff and stuff like that. I'll just that void to just get filled. Didn't work, didn't happen. I was just like read that Bible. I just kept feeling like a tug in my I didn't know it was my spirit at the time. And my
Mhm.
spirit, go read that Bible. Just so I would like read it here and there. I would do little devotionals, and then I'm all right. I would still want to go out tonight. Like it was still like one of those type of things, and it was like it was really resonating with me. So I felt like God really had to really grab me, sit me down, isolate me, and be like, "Yo, I'm
Yeah.
trying to do something right here. Like you can't run no more. Here, you got to read now, because I'm calling you to do what you need to do. You are going to help people. You are going to do this." And I was just like, I didn't want to answer that call because I was like, man, that comes with a lot of responsibility,
Mhm.
and I didn't want to have that spotlight on me at the time. I don't want to. I don't want to be under that light as like being a spiritual leader, because I'm like, man, when I more that I read in the Word, I'm like, man, people who are leading people, they're going to be held to a higher standard. They're going to be judged harsher. Oh, whoa, 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 God, I don't want to be responsible for none of that, none of that. And I try to keep running. I tried to keep running, and that's where I like literally I relate to Jonah. I was like, nope, need you right now. I need you. You're going to do this. You're going to, and it was just like I really didn't have a choice. And then once I actually started to embrace the calling that God put on my life, I just fell in love with it. Like I truthfully did, and I'm just so thankful that I did answer the call, because a lot of people don't. They just
Mhm.
keep going. They just keep running. And my whole thing is just like I have conversations with people about this all the time. It's like, where do I start? I'm like, man, truthfully, starting the gospel and just continue to just pray without ceasing, and just truly just seek God. Don't seek God for your own benefit, but seek God because you know you love Him. He created you. He cares to have a relationship with you. He wants you to dwell with Him in His kingdom. He wants you to be around Him. He wants you to be around His people. Go seek that relationship, and it's been working great for me. You know, I've been doing a lot of amazing things with a lot of amazing people. Uh, Met great people just off of doing things on my platform and stuff like that, and making connections for future generations, because it's not just about me making the connections. I want to make the connections. So when another kid comes along and it's like, hey, I want to go play basketball in college. I want to go do this. I have already stuff lined up for them, so it can be, you know, more helpful to them. So when I realized it's not about me, that's when I truly felt like things started to elevate. That was bigger than myself.
That's the thing, bigger than yourself. Because if it was just for what you wanted, it wouldn't work, you know? So it has to be
But
bigger. It has to be bigger than you. But I like that you said, I was like, oh, he's the real one when I saw this. I'm in my bag, but I'm in my Bible too. I was
that's
like,
a
okay.
testament to my personality. That is definitely a testament to my personality for sure. It's like don't let it fool you.
So I could talk to you all day, but we'll wrap it up here. Is there anything else, any other advice that you would want to give someone who's on the road to the NBA or just starting off in the faith?
Man,
What
what
would
I
you
would tell them:
advise them?
block this out, block this out, block this out, block this out. Make sure you and this him. That's all that matters. Block out the outside noise. Even 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 the Christian influencers that's out here too. Take everything with a grain of salt, because I truly believe that a lot of people, even though it's not for harmful intent, they're they're straying away a lot of people from Christ, from how they teach, from how they move and how they act towards other people, and say, "Oh, you need to do this. If you ain't doing this, you're going to hell. If you ain't doing this, you're doing
Mm-hmm.
this. If you ain't doing this, you're doing this." Bruh, come, just invite them. Invite them first, even within their sin, you still need to invite them and guide them to the path of righteousness. That's what it says. That's what it says in our book. That's what it says in the Bible. Guide them, help them. Just because they're in sin right now doesn't mean you dismiss them. You guide them to the path of righteousness. If they slip up, that doesn't make them less of a Christian. That doesn't make them less of a follower. You guide them right back. You
Mm-hmm.
help them. And a lot of my brothers and sisters, we have fallen out of the field of help. We just point out, and we And it makes a lot of people stray away from that. And that's why we have so much church hurt. That's why we have so much trauma. That's why we have all these things. We need to start, number one, love.
Love.
You don't gotta love the sin. You don't have to love the sin. But love the person that God created. Love them and help guide them. Show them the way. Show them the way. So what I would tell young believers, go read the word for yourself. Do not base your relationship with God off of a pastor, off of a friend, or anything else. Do not let that be your determining factor about Christ. Go seek him for yourself. Keep him first and just work hard and work diligently for the dreams that God has given you, and just maintain your faith, because we know that the faith of a mustard seed can move mountains. So maintain your faith, work hard, and just keep Christ number one.
Of that, because we do. It's all about love. It's all about everybody's journey is not everybody's journey. We're all being changed. We're all being changed. So I thank you so much for coming on the pod. It was so fun having you here. I know that you're gonna make it to the NBA. I know that you're gonna make it where you're trying to get to. And I just speak that in your life. And I want you to know that what you're doing is the foundation of it. You know, you're not only just getting yourself there, but you bring others along the way, and that's so beautiful. So keep doing what you're doing. God got you. Everyone else, I love you. See you guys soon on the next pod. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me down below what was your favorite part of this episode. Love to hear from you later.